the final day of teaching on the nose targeting course. So you've had a go at hand targets, you've had a go at target sticks, and now we're going to progress it. Now there are 2 more days left on the course schedule, and they are for me to support you to develop your own training. So that might be that you want to work on the desensitisation work towards going to the vets, or it might be that you want to work on a trick. So I've got 2 days blanked out of my diary to support you through that. However, before we get to that point, we've got some more content for you. So first will come improving your accuracy. Now, if your dog is coming in and just targeting any old place on your hand, or on your target stick, you're going to want to hone them down into a precise spot, either on your target stick or on a wall. And so to do that, I'm going to use my hand for the minute. You present your hand, and he's actually got exactly where I want it. So if he's on the last knuckle of my finger, that's where I want him. Touch. Good. And I also, at the same time, want to have it so that it's just below his dronarium, so just below his wet nose area. Off. Touch. Yeah. So if he's a dog that's basically just hitting somewhere in the hand, touch. My first criteria might be that he's hitting the hand. And then I can work my way along the length of the hand, dropping, see there that time, yeah. So dropping the rewards for where he doesn't hit, and giving the rewards when he's getting closer and closer along the finger. Remember, touch, to give multiple attempts at each level. So it's not just a case of he gets onto the fingers once, so you move on to the second 2 joints of the finger. You do several at the just being on the finger, touch, and then you move on to be further along the finger as you get more precise. So Percy hasn't seen this little exercise at all. He's seeing it for the first time so that I can show you from the beginning with it. So the job is going to be to target that black spot. Yes, my point worked. So I want him on that black spot. Yes, and he's moving off it right now. He's not getting it exact, and that's fine. Yes, but then over several reps, I can start pausing. Yeah, so he's pausing on the wall now. Pausing on the wall now, so now I'm wanting him to increase, yes, I'm wanting him to increase his accuracy. So I'm phasing out the distance targets like that, yeah, and rewarding the ones that are nearer the black spot. Yeah, and I'm working quite gradually. And I can help him, yes, I can help him using a hand or a target stick, yes. So I can help him by using a hand or a target stick, but ultimately, if he does that, and yes, did you see him move on to it then? That was brilliant. So he's sort of getting it, but he's still swiping it right now. Yes. So he's still coming off it. We want him to go on it and stay on it eventually. Yes, good boy. So that pause made him self-correct. Yes. So he's getting the idea now. Yes. Boy. So he's getting the idea. Let's see how he does. Yes. Boy. Yes. Yes. Now, this is quite useful if you're going to do door opening. So you've got the dot solidified before you move to the door. Go on. Yes. Go on. Yes. So we've got a bit of a behaviour change now. He's doing some over here. Yes. And then he's going to the dot. So again, I'm going to help him. Yes. Take him straight to the dot myself. And wait. Yes. 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 So he's ready now for a bit more practice on going straight onto the dot. But he's got the idea, yes, that the dot, go on. Yes, so the dot is the thing. Go on. And that's enough for a training session. Good boy, good boy, good boy. Right, go on, get it now. So that's enough. I'm going to take the dot away. I don't want him to keep going back to it. Okay, so your dog might be a lazy targeter. So he's just about coming in and he's just about touching. Or even, he's not touching, but he's coming in and he's stopping just short. And we want to bring that on to be a nice pushy target that we can use to later do pushing tasks such as opening doors. One way of improving the firmness with which they target is to have a dot on a piece of paper and have them target the dot. So, dot, yes. And here you see has already got quite a firm, yes. He's already got quite a firm push on the piece of paper because he's fussy and he's pushy. Yes, that one wasn't very good. So what we can start doing, yes. See, that second one was much firmer. Now I'm not worrying as much about the accuracy as in the accuracy section. I could backtrack and do that afterwards. Right now I'm worried about firmness. Go on, target. Target. Yeah. So I'm wanting him to really push on it. But we're going to get there gradually. Good boy. Get there gradually. And can you see that was a really firm one then? It hit my hand. That was a really good boy. Go on. Go on. Yes. So he's really quite firm. He's quite good at the strength of the nose target. If you've got a dog that's basically already got a good firm target, you could move on straight from this straight to pushing on a door. If you haven't and you're struggling and the paper thing's not working, you could dangle your target stick and they can push your target stick and you can reward for your target stick moving. They could push a football at a small dog or a gym ball, things that move fairly easily before you move on to the door, which obviously is a little bit more difficult for them to push. So you can give them some steps in between. So your next thing then is going to be to push on a door. So this is kind of either after you've done the pushing something easy to push, like the bit of paper or a ball or whatever, or with the pushy pushers and the pushy targeters, now we can move on to put our dot that we've used elsewhere on the paper on the wall on the door, and then we can send the dog. Now initially you can send them to target, yes, and they'll touch it. It may or may not move. Hopefully if you've just been walking on pressure it will move. Big fuss of the dog and then retry. Several repetitions of that, and then once your dog has got the idea that that's what you're going to do, instead of your target cue you're going to ask for a push. And that looks like push, push, good boy. And he hasn't pushed it all the way, so I'm going to reward that. And then I'm going to go and reset the door. And try again. Push. Yes. Very good, boy. Very, very good. And that's that. Right guys, so We've talked about getting the strength, we've talked about getting some precision. Okay, so it's time now to hand the reins over to you and encourage you to spend the next couple of days working on a training challenge of your own. So that could be a desensitisation task that involves hand targets and nose targets. It could be a trick, whatever you want. I'll train alongside you and I'll record bits and bobs from your training plans if that's going to help you through the next couple of days. But I'm very much handing the reins over to yourselves. So I've got some tips for you and I've got my phone out just to be sure. So be realistic. 2 days is not very long, so it might be realistic that you can stroke your dog the full length while they're holding a target, but it might not be realistic that a vet comes and does a full examination. So pick tricks that are not too many elements. You can have a couple, but just be reasonably realistic. Stick to 5-minute training sessions. And if you need to, set yourself an alarm. It's easy when training's going well to just do a bit more and just do a bit more and end up with a 20-minute, half-hour session. That's not doing your dog any favours in terms of their learning. Play. Follow every training session up with a game of tug, a game of fetch, a game of hunt the treats. Follow it up, make sure that you are giving them at least the same, preferably longer, in play as you gave them in training. Plan. So have an idea. You don't need a fully detailed plan. Look back at week 2, get your training plans from week 2 and write down what you think the criteria are likely to be. They will change, you will need to be flexible, but if you've got the criteria there, the bare bones of it, it's a lot easier then to pick up your treat bag and go and do a session than it is if you've got to then think, well, what do I need to do now to get to the end goal? So a few minutes planning today will help you over the next couple of days. So hydrate. Your dog won't learn, just as they learn better when they play, they learn better when they're full hydrated, so do you, and they learn better when they've had enough rest. So both of you be well rested, be well hydrated, don't squeeze a training in just when you've just got in from work and you're exhausted, or equally when they've just woken up. And that's it really. So be flexible, plan, hydrate, play, be realistic, and don't expect them to be able to do much more than 5 minutes. So today I'd really like it if you could post and tell me what you're planning on doing, so that if you're doing this with the main group, I can then have a go with him, record it, share it with you, and hopefully we can work together. I may not be able to record for everybody, but if I can record for some, I'll probably overcome several people's questions in one go.